We got quite a few
Yeah,
additions.
we're live. You read that? Thank you. Thank you for your patience there. We just had a few things we needed to wrap up. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance with Billy, as a veteran, would you lead us on that? And we'll, sir? I appreciate that. And that will be followed by a moment of silence. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I was thinking during my moment of silence,
Yeah.
been enjoying the Olympics like most of you have. And I especially watched the event itself is good, the race or the flipping around or whatever they're doing. But the athletes have that moment of silence that they put themselves together. And that's real important. And that's kind of what went through my mind as I had my moment of silence. Things that we think about, things that we prepare ourselves for. We have a fairly full agenda today, but we'll just see how she rolls. We'll begin with the claims. No holds. To entertain a motion on the claims.
Brian Kyer makes a motion that we accept the claims as presented at $6,339,432.36.
We have a second.
Second.
All in favor of the motion to approve the claims, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. We have 2 minutes, and one's from July the 1st and July the 15th. Do we have any questions on or changes or additions to those? Motion for those.
Kenny Hill makes a motion, we approve the minutes for the July 1st as well as July 15th County Commissioners meeting.
Motion's been made and second. All in favor, say aye. Aye, and motion passes 3-0. We also have, the next item is the treasurer's report. Hang on, I gotta flip a few pages here.
I think she did do 2 months.
Yeah, there's 2 of them. Brian Kyer makes a motion that we accept the treasury report for May and June 2024.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept the 2 treasurer's reports. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Semi-annual commissary report. It's in our, Major Dave, you want to comment on that? Thank you, sir.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
All right, so there's not a lot to that. It's just basically the register of the commissary account and then where the balance started and ended. It's just a report that we give you annually every year. Well, we give you a semi-annual and then an annual. So it's just to keep you up to date of where we're at with the commissary and what we spend it on, and happy to answer any questions that you have.
Did it say what you spend it on?
The register has all that listed.
Oh, that's the
all of our
register's-
expenses. Yeah, I mean, traditionally, our commissary account in our county has always basically been used to buy all the jail transport vehicles that we use in the jail, so that
Okay.
the county doesn't have to pay for that, like the patrol vehicles. And then we also help offset computer costs, computer maintenance costs, training cost. So those are
Covers a lot of expenses that this is generated through the, of course, the commissary.
Correct. So inmate phone money, so when the inmates use their tablets or you make a telephone call, there's some profit made there.
Okay.
And that's regulated too through the FCC in some different ways. So that amount has reduced over the years due to regulations. But there is profit that comes back to the county that goes into that account. And then also, we sell commissary, which is a fancy word for snacks. So we sell snacks on commissary that the inmates can purchase, and there is a little bit of markup up there that comes back to the county as well, that goes into that account to offset those costs as well.
That's another fancy word for geedunk.
Yeah, and another thing that we try to do with that account, because the money is coming from the inmates,
Inmates,
is
correct.
we try to reinvest into the inmates. So we do, one of the large things that we pay for out of there is some of our programming to Centerstone that they provide to our inmates monthly. So for drug addiction counseling and some of that programming. So we also, some of the entertainment stuff. So we don't use taxpayers' money to buy TVs or games or any of those type of activities that we do for the inmates as well. We use the money in which they're basically reinvesting into themselves as well. So that
Well, that
account's
makes
just-
perfectly good sense.
Yeah.
I think the taxpayers need to know that they're not, that actually, the inmates themselves are furnishing the funding for things that they'd like to have that you permit.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you.
Yep, you're very
Appreciate it.
welcome. So other than that, it's just an advisory report, so you guys know. what
Well,
we
I've
do with the
always known it
money,
was
so-
out there, but wasn't always sure what it was used for, and you've helped me out.
Yep, yep, you're very welcome, so.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, no problem. Any other questions?
Nope,
Okay.
I don't.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Okay, thanks. So I don't know we need to do anything except acknowledge that we received the report. So I guess that would be a motion. You could say we accept the report.
Makes a motion acknowledging that we received the biannual, semi-annual commissary report from the jail.
It just got turned.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you, sir. What we got here?
Additional stuff.
Okay, yeah, that's one
We just got this.
that's in old business, I think. Passed, tabled for a couple of times. Thank you. Okay, next item on our agenda is the right-of-way purchase agreement. No, I'm sorry, I skipped one. The animal control agreement. Josh, you would kind of bring us up to date on that.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
So, as you guys know, our animal control ordinance is very old and outdated. The Morgan County Humane Society has approached us about updating that, as well as all the different municipalities. The city of Martinsville has agreed to join with us and help spearhead this effort in an attempt to get a unified animal control ordinance that everybody can adopt across the county. And so we are going to, and the city are going to shoulder the financial burden of that, which actually came in much lower than I expected. So the city brought this firm to us, Ground Rules, based out of Zionsville. They're a planning and development company, and also, their main people are attorneys. And so they've agreed to help us work through this ordinance, and that's meeting with, the sheriff, meeting with the prosecutor, meeting with the different towns and cities to make sure that we get something that everybody can be happy with and they can work for our animal control. So I'm pleased that we can finally get the ball rolling on this. And so if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them.
Well, that sounds good. I'm glad to see some collaboration going on for this, that pay for it, and I was kind of surprised at the price. Do they have a date on when they expect this to be completed, or did we know that?
Yeah, we'll just start working through the process. They built in, I think it was 7 stakeholder meetings as part of it, so
Okay.
a lot of that's going
It'll
to
be
be
a
dictated by
while.
how quickly people can meet.
Okay. Well, very nice.
Hopefully, when this is completed, all the other municipalities will adopt so that we're on the same page. So anyone who shows up in an authoritative position should know what they can and can't do.
Well, it's a problem, needs a little attention, and I appreciate getting this started. I know the prosecutor was interested in it for sure, and very important. part of our services that we provide. Any questions from you about this agreement, gentlemen?
No, I am just tickled we're doing this, moving forward.
Thank
I
you.
got a lot of calls on animal control.
Yes, we do. Yeah, it's a needed venture. I'll entertain a motion.
Brian Carr makes a motion that we accept and go forward with the agreement between Morgan County and Ground Rules, Inc. for animal control regulation services.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
Only thing in this is that my wife was upset because there wasn't a clause in there to put me down.
We'll work on it. It's not done yet.
Yeah.
There's always hope.
Said I'd have to behave.
All right, let's look at the next item on the agenda is a right-of-way purchase agreement with Justin.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning.
This next topic deals with the purchase of right-of-way for Bridge 29 out on Mahalasville Road. We've been in the design phase for this project for some time. The anticipated schedule is to go to bid next year. Construction may commence early next year or into the following 2026. This kind of all started, our consultant, United Consulting, put some conveyance documents together for a warranty deed and a temporary easement. Those were put together by our previous attorney, so having Ann now joining our team, I wanted to run these by her for concurrence. I believe she has taken a look at everything and found them to be satisfactory. She's shaking her head yes, so I'm going to take that as a good sign.
The only thing that has to be changed is the preparation, notation on the deed has to be changed.
Gotcha, okay. So one minor change there. And then I would also like to note that these documents were for only one half of the project on one side of the roadway. We actually have another parcel in the amount of $4,200 that'll be purchased for this project as well. So Ann, I'm not really sure, we don't really need approval in the form of a signature on this, but is this just a blessing to move forward with our
Yeah,
concurrence?
it's a blessing to move forward. We couldn't finalize it today because we only have one set.
Right.
Like, we need two parcels, so. I just wanted them to have something to touch and look at while you were talking to them.
Okay, gotcha.
So our action would be,
I think you would want to approve moving forward so that we can get the full set of documents, make the change in terms of the deed notation as to who prepared it. It'll be my name.
Duty? Sorry.
But yes, just a approval for Justin to move forward.
any questions, gentlemen? Are you okay?
Yeah.
I'll entertain a motion that we I think the motion would be to proceed with the process that we're engaged here on the purchase. Is that correct, Ann?
Yes.
Okay. I'll entertain that motion, or not getting any motions made.
Is there any questions I can answer? Or would you guys like some more time? I can provide you plan sheets, or we can revise the documents and then get it a formal approval. Either way.
I mean, I just got it.
I'm gonna guess if there's a concern, it's not a concern about the format of the documents as compared to the program.
The figures before you, I mean, we got appraisals on these properties through the standard NDOT process. With this being a federal aid project, there's a lot of hoops we have to jump through to be in compliance with, real estate purchases and everything. We've followed all those proper procedures. It's been appraised. Yeah.
Do you gentlemen have a question about the process?
I'm not a speed reader. Since I just got this, you'll have to give me a minute. I'm not that smart either. So I have to read some things twice. So let's go back over. This helped Brian out. just FYI, I have that on silent and turned off, but the fire thing when I'm on duty, because it thinks I'm on duty because I'm supposed to be on duty, overrides everything. And it looked, when that happened at the commissioners' meeting with 500 people, that looked real good too. So I apologize for that.
Not a problem.
Okay, so now that I found the proper paperwork, we're doing it. Because my only question on the warranty deed,
At the bottom, is that what you're talking about?
You gotta make a change there.
on page 3,
Yes,
Did
first
you-
line.
Where, first line?
gotta
Or
be
the,
corrected. Gotta be changed.
that's what I said when I said there needs to be a change to the notation on that document.
Yeah,
Just making sure that that's what you're changing.
that's what she is.
Yeah, that won't work.
How's that for a speed reader? Evelyn Wood would be impressed. So you just need our blessing to go forward to get the second parcel.
Well, these are just sample documents so that you would have something. Justin could have come up here today with no documents and just talked to you about what his project is, the fact that he's gotten two appraisals, what the cost is, why he needs the property. So these documents were just kind of to have something else to touch and to feel, to understand the process.
I'm a visual learner.
Exactly. But mostly what he's looking for, because we're going to finalize documents, it's going to be two separate documents. And then it will actually have my name on it.
Kenny Howe makes a motion for the templates that we have before us now on county highway easement agreements.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passes 3-0, and thank you for the thoroughness of what we're doing. And especially, both of you folks are kind of, this is inheritance, I guess you'd say.
Yes.
And you want to make sure what you inherit.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Stay until the end of the meeting? Yeah. Okay.
Okay, the next item is a CDL agreement with the Highway Department. Eddie Fisher, our highway.
Good morning.
We've got a CDL program. We take our employees that hired in a few years ago with, just as laborers that are wanting to move up, and there's no way to move up in our department without having a Class B, at least CDL. So we found a program that will accept, if we send 4 guys, 2 at a time, pay up front, they will give us, I think it was a $500 discount per person.
Correct.
We've got 4 guys that's willing to do this, and we'll sign this agreement. I've come up with a proposal agreement to try to get you guys to read and understand. The reimbursement agreement is a contract between the county and the employee that accepts this, and it's for a reimbursement if they get their CDL and they leave the county within, let's say, it's in the contract, a year time, they will pay back the full amount that we paid for them to get this CDL. If they leave within a year and a half to 2 years, they would be in agreement to pay back half of it. It's all in the contract. I gave it to Ann to look over, and she changed some of the terms in there. So you guys have a copy and you see how it's all broke down and how it would work. We'd like to move forward with this to train our guys instead of have to go outside and look for drivers and be able to use in-house employees. So,
Just so you all know, we were talking about this reimbursement provision. I understand why Mr. Fisher's looking at that, because, you know, there's a potential that you pay for all of this for somebody and then they leave you and you're just out that money. So in order to recoup the investment, one of the things we had looked at was, originally he was gonna put a 100% recoupment within 2 years, which is, it's okay, it's not illegal, but the NLRB does not like these kinds of repayment contracts. So in an abundance of trying to be reasonable, we
Is
did
it
a.
enforceable?
It is enforceable. It is enforceable. I'm going to talk to you about the assignment, but they are enforceable. No one has said they are not enforceable, but they look at like reasonableness of this. And so that's why we did this step down, so that it's not like if somebody leaves a week before their 2-year anniversary, then they don't have to pay back 100%. And so in terms of the way that the contract is written, we have the right to recoup the amount in step-down amounts over 2 years. But in terms of the assignment, so there's actually an assignment that says you can deduct it from my last paycheck. The reason it's written the way it is strictly pursuant to statute, because they have to authorize it in writing and they can revoke it. If they revoke the assignability, that doesn't mean you still don't have a claim. It's just a question of economics at that point.
Okay. Gentlemen, have any question on the
Just
agreement?
for clarification, Eddie, I mean, it's right now, it's costing about $6,000-7,000 to get a CDL anymore, where it used to only be about $2,500, right?
Yes.
So at the end of 18 months, Doug, and somebody wants to leave, I mean, basically, they're only gonna end up having to pay $1,750. That's what it boils down to. That's what I'm coming up with
Yes.
number-wise. So-
Wait,
Texas County, really, I
Yeah,
mean, they're
it
probably
does.
gonna get they'll leave because of money.
and it's also set up that they get the training paid for, but as far as paying for the CDL, if they fail the test, that's on them. If they want to
Not
take the test
us.
later, they will pay out of their pocket on that as well. We're not going to keep
Yeah,
paying for
we're,
the test.
we're
if
not
they
in the
can't pass
business of
test.
training people to
Pretty
leave
good
us.
success rate on this,
Right.
85, 90% success rate.
By the way,
Good, because that test is hard. I mean, I got
And this is a
guys
Class A,
that have been
actually.
flunking it that I know pretty well, and they drive all the time.
And they're offering a Class A on that, so that's, so it's not going to cost any extra for them to get their Class A. It's going to, it's part of the program. They'll have a
Now,
Class A.
do we need hazmat or any of that out there?
No, we don't haul anything hazardous. We have 2 or 3 guys that have tankers, and we do have the distributor that sprays for our chip and seal roads. So they need tankers for that. So we do have 3 guys, but that's an endorsement they can get later, and they won't have to pay that kind of money for us. We do have that covered though for now.
I stayed here a few years ago, they really jumped that up there on the cost of that, didn't they?
Well, it's like they didn't want anybody to haul the freight to stock the
Yeah.
And that
shelves
is-
at the grocery
like I
store.
say,
It was crazy.
With that discount they offered, if we sign 4 people up and pay in advance, we send 2 at a time, it's $2,000 off the total bill. So that's a big
That helps too.
savings for the county as well.
Have any further questions, gentlemen? I'll entertain a motion.
Kenny Howe makes a motion for the Morgan County Highway Department on the reimbursement agreement on somebody acquiring their CDLs.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passes 3-0. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
And
Eddie.
thank you, Ann,
Appreciate it.
putting all that together. We also have in front of us the proposed consulting agreement with the, is this medical building, David, or Captain, or Major? Kind of
it's not medical.
friend, I like that. Hardworking friend.
We are, Ann and Josh and I have been working through the billing company, so that's Heritage. We're not there yet with that agreement, but Ann was able to get through the weekend. She's put a lot of hours into this as well as Josh and I. But this is the consultant, so this is kind of the oversight of our whole medical operations as an outside looking in and keeping us in compliance with everything. So that's what this agreement is today. They'll also help is if we lose practitioners, nurses, mental health folks, they'll help recruit and find those kind of folks for us as well. And they also help keep up with all of our training for those professional staff members. And they'll also help with policy development as things change in the medical field. They'll help keep updated with that, with our policies and procedures, and just kind of keep us in the right direction.
And how much is this for?
42,000, Brian, paid over 12 months.
Yes, Ann?
So just to clarify, the version that you have in there is a red line version. After that went out in your packet, we did have approval of all of our changes, right? Or is it not red line?
This is a clean,
Oh, they have the clean one now? Okay, so the version that
clean
was in the PDF, I thought was red line, but It's been approved. All of the red lines that were originally proposed by us were approved.
Okay.
And then there's a red line version to Heritage that's pending. They've received it, acknowledged it, but they haven't gotten back to us on our red lines.
Correct. But this company agreed to all changes we asked for.
So it's on our,
And if this makes this agreement here, this person actually worked for Advanced Correctional Healthcare for many years when that company first came about until around 2015 or 16. And then when they restructured, she left the company, started her own company doing this for private entities that decided not to use medical companies any longer because that started happening. And then she also was a subcontractor and was getting ready to start with us with doing the oversight in Indiana for the growth of Fast Access, but she didn't get started with them before they sold out. So she was going to be doing the same thing as a subcontractor to Fast Access. So she was still going to be our oversight through them doing the same exact thing, since they weren't established in the state of Indiana yet. But she's not related to the company any longer because she was just a subcontractor, so she elected not to move on with the company.
okay.
And she does several Department of Corrections throughout the United States as well that are self-governed as far as their medical operations. And so she's very familiar with this industry.
Thank you.
Sure.
You gentlemen have any questions?
David, just help me out a little bit. You actually got a three-prong approach to this medical legal consulting, because you've got billing, and this nothing to do with billing.
Correct.
You've also got the company that used to have the nurses and all this stuff.
Which we now acquired
That's
that.
not part of this.
That's not part of that.
And this is actually just for medical and legal consulting. That's all this is for.
Correct. So this plays a role if we end up with a difficult situation that we don't know what to do with. We could always rely upon one of those companies. Or, I mean, and not everything is a legal
Yeah.
issue per se, but we need medical advice on
Yeah,
certain things. You know, like we get a cancer patient in that we necessarily can't get out of jail, but we need to navigate the system of pharmaceuticals and how to get best situations and deals with that and working with providers. So that's where this also plays a role for us to navigate those internal systems to get the best deals for the county. She'll also help with, you know, if we need new EKG machine, because a lot of folks don't realize that we have EKG machines, we have x-ray services that we deal with. So she will also help, you know, if we get in difficulties of that, she will help navigate those systems as well for us to help if we run into any kind of difficulties there. Or if we lose our mental health person, that is a county employee, but we are struggling on finding that kind of service or finding another employee, she would be the person that we lean on and say, hey, we can't find a mental health person, can you assist with that? And she has, you know, capabilities of recruitment. That we wouldn't pay additional costs for those type of things. We'd just reach out to her, she would help. She will also be on site to do audits of our whole operations on a routine basis, and then report back to us that, you know, she found that a nurse wasn't doing proper logging of medical records, or the doctor wasn't doing proper logging of medical records, those type of things, or she's seen the doctor was prescribing weird stuff that didn't seem in line with the practice. So she's kind of the outside oversight to alert us if we've got problems or issues, or if we're doing a really good job too, so.
Last question, David. What we was paying before to what we're gonna be paying now with the three ways we're doing it, is it a
So
wash
really,
or
Kenny,
increase
so,
or-
and you wasn't at the last meeting, so most of these are known cost. The unknown cost, which was unknown to us anyways, was the $180,000 pool of money that we pay. We've estimated that cost over the year. It actually used to be 120. Then we upped it, and I actually upped it in this budget year because we're over usually. So that $180,000 that you'll see in a lot of my numbers, that's a estimated number of what our medical bills. So that's when we take someone to the emergency room, we pay the x-ray place that comes on, we pay the dentist, we pay for dentures, we pay for ER visits, all that stuff. That was never covered under the contract. Now, they negotiate that bill for us, but we still pay that bill. And so, and that money was out of that 180,000 that we've always kind of pre-estimated that and budgeted for, just so we had a number for the budget. Sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't. And so Heritage, which is the contract we're working through now, is a negotiator and a discounter of bills. So they're a large network, kind of like UMR does for the county for our medical bills. They are an independent person that does this for corrections specifically. They know how to navigate Medicaid and Medicare, and they have the U.S. Marshals contract for the United States, so they get a lot of discounting that we would qualify for. So they have agreed to navigate our bills, so when we go to the hospital now, instead of fast access to correctional health care being our billing person, we will give a card to the hospital that says, Bill Heritage. Heritage will get all of our medical bills, and they will negotiate those, they will take care of all of them, and then at the end of the month, whatever they've done for us that month, they will send us an invoice. If they've paid 10 of them, they'll give us an invoice for their services at $50 per claim that they've handled to take care of their side. And then they will also invoice us for the bills they paid for us, which would come out of that estimated 180,000. So we estimated that we do around 30 to 40 claims per month. So that 24,000 that I spoke of in our meeting last week, that's where that number came from. So that's an estimate. It could be less, could be more. But we estimated about $50 times that 30 or 40 got us to that 24,000. Could be less. That would come kind of out of what I would say that $180,000 pool as well in our medical bills. So that's the unknown number. But with all that included, with our staff moving, the difference of the county taking over this operation and relatively just independently going with these different pieces but still having the same outcome at the end of the day was like $3,449 difference, including benefits. So, because most of these costs are all filtered through. The 24th, so then you ask, well, where's their profit running this as a company and why are we not saving? Well, we may save. We don't know what that is. They aren't making, staff is a flow through. So whatever the staff costs them, they give, that's just, you're paying that anyways. That 24,000, I don't know what that is for them to process. And they have staff that's on staff doing that. So that's probably where some of their profits build in. And, and there's some other things that they've built in with the doctor cost. I don't know what exactly they contract the doctor at, so there may be some savings there. And we're gonna pay an extra practitioner that they have a pool of them that they're paying and sharing that cost with other facilities that we don't have that luxury. So that's probably where some of that is. But overall, to our taxpayers, the potential change is only going to cost around $3,400, potentially. May not even be that. Now, with that being said, if we was to get a cancer patient, which we get, and I couldn't get them out of jail, or a HIV patient that I couldn't get out of jail, outside of you taking the employees, which would be irrelevant of this whole situation, that $180,000 that we estimate could turn into $280,000 very quickly, and I could be at the end of the year saying, hey, we're $280,000 in the hole because our medical bills have went up that because of these two patients. And Brian would understand that from our health insurance for the county because it functions very much in the same fashion. There's a lot of estimated costs because you don't know what situation you're gonna have. So does that kind of make sense why nothing's really changed? Now, we are moving money from professional services, which right now we're paying everything out of one pot of money. And that's what made this so emergent and so difficult because we're just changing what we're doing. So we really moved the staff out of the professional service fund and put it into salary.
The 100s.
Because we're government and that's what we have to do. We couldn't continue to just pay for it out of that. But we deducted that, even in our upcoming budget, we deducted that amount and put it over into salaries. And so our professional service line item has went down, which is paying for the new contracts that I'm asking for you to sign, which would be the practitioners, this contract in front of you today for the consulting, and also for the medical billing company that will be forthcoming. So hopefully that helps clear up what we're doing and really where we're going with this. The positive thing, these companies are a dying entity because insurance is killing them all. The county was already paying for these same insurance, and we're working with Josh and Steve McConnell and Brad to change our risk levels of how, we're probably overinsured, to be honest, in how we're doing this currently and have since about 2006. So we are gonna change that strategy and kind of change what we call ourselves as a clinic. But that doesn't change our insurance coverage as far as, right now, we're good, and we have been. And we used to do this up until 2006. We didn't have the amount of staff because we didn't have mental health, and we didn't have all that. We contracted Dr. Lochran, who was a local doc here in town. We had one nurse, and we ran medical, and unfortunately, and Linda would not want the medical billing any longer because we definitely have more than what we had back then. But the auditor's office was our bill processor, just like they paid our bills the same as any other claim that came in. So I know this seemed really scary. It really isn't as scary, and it just had to happen quickly because this company put us in they were smoke and mirrors at the beginning. We agreed to all their changes that they gave us in May. Between May and July 1st, well, July 11th, they put us in a bind. And because that started a fifth demand that they didn't tell us about, wasn't in their letter to us, and we agreed to everything up until that point, and that's when we drew the line, and they drew the line, and that's where we ended up with a problem. I did notify the county administrator and the county attorney as soon as I was told that this is a new demand, and we worked through it, but it was a very short amount of time to get council, commissioners, legal, we thought we had maybe until October, but they were kind of in the mindset, the company being bought out was flexible, but they were bought out and didn't really have control after July 31st. The new company basically is drawing the line in the sand saying, your staff comes to us or there's no deal, sue us, it's not our contract. So, which we're obviously looking at what our options are there. But this is why we did keep the 2 nurses throughout history as a protection to the county, that if this did ever happen, we relatively could take over medical pretty quickly, and you didn't have 260 inmates sitting over there that had to go to the emergency room, because we can't pass medications, we can't, without the practitioner and having the nursing staff, we can't operate. And the sheriff's ultimately responsible for that, but you are as well being elected officials, the executive body and the council being the funder. So we all hold some responsibility at the end of the day, and that's, and I know that.
I'd make it stop with the sheriff.
But, I just don't want people to think that we just impromptu, oh, well, we knew about this and we just didn't until the last minute, and that's truly not true.
Having sit in on a couple of those meetings and then outside of the meetings, getting to read a little bit about what you were handed. It's not ideal to bring on more employees, as they are our greatest asset and our greatest liability, but you did the best and a good job, in my opinion, of making lemonade out of lemons. So thank you for doing this, and the attorney, and for Josh because that 180's not going to last long if we have to transport them, take additional deputy to sit outside the ER. That would not last.
No.
A quarter of a year, let alone a whole year, so.
No. There is one other asset I have between Josh, Ann, and you all, just because I don't want to cause a bigger mess as we proceed. Ann's been very great about working through contracts with us. This one was the least important of the 2 contracts that I need to get moving. The most important is actually Heritage, because we still have medical bills running and processing, and when you're dealing with 30 or 40 of those a month, that can be a problem. So I would ask, as long as Josh and Ann and the sheriff and I can come up to an agreement that Ann feels protects the commissioners and Josh feels protects the commissioners, that we could go ahead and preliminarily engage in that as soon as we can come up with that agreement, so we can start getting our bills processed in a timely fashion. Otherwise, we would have to start processing those through the auditor's office, and they're going to have to start. That's going to be a major disaster for them.
How quick do you think that contract?
It's really in
front of
their
them.
hands.
It's up to them. The ball is
Yeah.
in their court. There's a couple of kind of major sticking points. The one thing I will add to what Dave is saying is that like the contract that you have in front of you, that Heritage contract has a 90-day out. So the most we,
This was a 60-day out.
that
Yeah,
one's
that one
60?
was 60.
Okay, hers is 60, the other one's 90, I think. But we have a 90-day out. If we started down the path there and if there was an issue, you would be able to
As
extract.
long as we go forward into new charter, as long as we can get back out in a timely fashion to circle our wagons and try something.
Yeah, and we've done everything with a 12-month agreement, even with the practitioner, it's been a 12 months, so,
It's 12 months with an opportunity to renew.
correct, yeah. So I guess we're asking for two blessings, one to engage in this contract today in front of you, and then a second one, once we can get a good contract out of Heritage, to go ahead and engage in that. And then we can discuss that contractor further at your next meeting, if there's any question about that.
What is the ramifications if we give them a preliminary green light before we see the contract, but then when we get the contract, we don't like it? Does that construe that we entered into a contract without signing to?
No. And the fact is, we are going to continue to work through the language and so forth. I'm trying to figure out the right way to say this. Because of the urgency of the situation, the sheriff's department could move forward even without approval. It's not subject to your approval. I don't,
They could publicly blame the sheriff.
exactly. I'm saying that.
However, I'll just be blunt. We can get, the law says we have to bring it to you. Even if we don't agree with you, we can still move forward with any contract that's pertinent to the jail. That was the new law that was enacted. However, our county, and it's because you all know, there's lots of counties that are having major problems. Our county does not have that.
It's unfortunate for a lot of the Morgan County citizens not to realize how far ahead and how much better off we are than many of our
Exactly.
other counties.
And so I have said, we are blessed in our county that we all get along and we all have been able to work
Kinda.
together
I
for
wouldn't say
many,
all.
many years. So that's why Ann's touching this very gently, and I've made this clear to Ann too. So we're not gonna do anything that is gonna harm our commissioners or council. You guys, both bodies have throughout many, many years have been good to work with us, and you always have. And so what Ann is saying is true. We're not gonna ruin any kind of relationship that we'd ever have.
I honestly believe
but
that wholeheartedly, Dave,
that's,
with both of you, we are very blessed in this. It's moved on you so fast, and there's so many aspects to these contracts. I'm just scared that
Correct.
that one little asterisk over here gets us in trouble. So
Yes.
I'm protecting you, not me.
But I will give Ann a whole lot of credit. And this is the most I've got to work with Ann since she's been with us. But, and also from my town council time too, and I got to work with several law firms through them, Ann has been the most thorough with dealing with contracts and dealing with her. And it's been a pleasure really to deal with her and through this. And she's very, I mean, she called me over her husband, so. But, so, I mean, I'm very confident in Ann's operations as well, so she's
We
been
pushed
very.
back hard on the Heritage contract. We gave it
Yeah.
a really good look.
Yeah, and it's a traditional corporate contract. I mean, they're a large company and they're dealing nationwide, so it's the traditional protect them, not us, but the good thing is, I'm least worried about that because they're just paying our claims, so it's not like they have employees here. They're getting our bills, they're paying our bills. The most concerning part about theirs would be if they did not pay our bills and said they were paying our bills, then we would have, that's where our concern is there's some language there that may leave us some liability, which we have had with the last, not Fast Access, but the prior two companies, which has put us in Fast Access's situation, has been the issue, not the service provided, but the bill's not getting paid. So she's been very protective in that. So that's really the hang-up mostly with Heritage, so.
Mr. Chairman, Brian Carter makes a motion that we accept the proposed consulting agreement between Morgan County Jail and the Correctional Medical Legal Consulting, and with the preliminary blessings of the agreement between Morgan County and, is it Heritage Group or Heritage?
Yeah, Heritage Health Solutions.
Heritage Health Solutions.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. His motion passes 3-0, and I appreciate very much the professionalism of the attorney and your office. And Josh, it's very much a pleasure to see smoothness where it can be really rough.
Well, it takes all of us to make it happen, so it's
Yeah. You've,
definitely a lot of work goes into it. Thank you, commissioners.
good, Dan. Thank you so much. I think the next item on the agenda is an agreement, the address, it's with Abby, is going to, or, well, EMA is going to explain this. Thank you, Ed.
Morning.
Good morning.
I'm here to follow up on a grant that EMA has applied for. So that's our Homeland Security grant. Part of that was applying for Ladris, which is an evacuation software to bring to the county. The contract that we've brought before you is a purchase contract, and we're asking that that can be signed prior to receiving the grant. There is language in there that says that we will not be purchasing this platform until the grant is awarded, but having it signed in advance will allow us to move forward with it soon after we are awarded the grant.
Has this been reviewed?
Yes.
Yeah, I think this was actually, came at our last meeting, I believe, and then we,
Table till now.
No, it's
Can't
the
table it.
cost and then we don't have to buy it if we sign the contract, if we don't get the grant.
Is there language in here that says that? I don't recall seeing something that says if you don't get the grant, you don't.
I believe so. I haven't reviewed it myself.
That they were aware of that, and that they were putting it into the contract. We can double check and send that back to them if that's not in the contract.
I don't remember seeing that language, because when she said
I didn't see it either.
we wouldn't have to pay for it, I was like sitting here thinking, okay, I'm not following, because I don't see that. Because one of the concerns I had with it is that it has E-Verify language in it, but it doesn't have non-appropriation. And then I thought, well, maybe it doesn't have non-appropriation because it's paid for through the grant. But I don't see anything in here that says that this is being done ahead of time and wouldn't be effective if we didn't get the grant.
Yeah, I'll confirm with them. They were supposed to have that included, but I will reach out to them today and have them rewrite the contract with that inclusion.
When will you know about the grant?
We'll hear back hopefully September or October on both of the SHSP grants that we had applied for. And that's their purpose behind having us in for this contract early, so that if we got awarded, as soon as we got the award, they could release the software to us and begin the training with that, so that there wasn't any delay in it. But we'll reach out to them and make sure that they can get that added, so that there's not anything binding if the grant does not get awarded to the county.
Yeah, I don't recall seeing that, and I spent some time looking at the termination provisions, and I don't think it said that in there, so.
I don't remember it.
Any other concerns? I mean, that would be my only concern.
That's my only concern.
I'll make the motion that we accept the agreement for these services with Landis contingent upon the clause within the contract being added that if we do not get the grant, we can get out of the contract.
Second that motion.
any further questions on that? I agree. We've had a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. There's where we are. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry?
Skip this one. You skipped that one right there, the auction agreement. And it ain't even on yours.
I didn't know in mine. The auction agreement?
On yours.
It's not on either,
I don't
because I
have
was
that.
gonna ask about it.
Yeah, they added it on mine, the auction.
We do that under new business?
I thought we approved that auction
Well,
agreement.
Deb has it here in the business where she put it, but she only did mine in on Thursday.
Or other business?
Well, we could.
Yes, we do.
I was gonna say, I've got 2 or 3 things still out here that I'm not finding.
It don't matter to me.
What-
I'm just asking.
Where do you want to, I don't see the auction
Actually,
agreement.
the consignment for the auction of the 2 Dixie lawnmowers for the parks.
I thought we did that.
Not formal, we didn't have the contract yet. And the contract's been changed and had them change the
Oh.
contract too, so
So what do we have here?
need to approve it. If
Well,
we're
the
gonna
other,
get rid of-
the other side hasn't approved it, but you need to approve the agreement so that then they can sign off on it.
That's the agreement on the lawnmowers
Auction.
auction.
Live auction.
Yeah, I thought we did that.
We talked a lot about lawnmowers this summer, I will give you that, but mostly it was on the purchasing side.
Yep. And we did purchase.
I don't have that auction agreement, but
Deb just sent it down, the new one, because I just got it down.
I'll
this-
make sure
this here.
I don't.
Deb's showing favoritism to one commissioner and not the other 2?
I'm her favorite, yes.
I've got a
I guess
request.
this is the point where I go on record and say in our minutes, she caught where I jumped on her computer and added a few things. She caught them and got them out of there. So what do we have to do on the auction agreement?
Just
Yeah.
need to bless it. It's got, Miss Ann's happy with it and satisfied, and we just need to go ahead and
Okay.
agree to it. And it is doing a live auction on the 2 Dixie lawnmowers for the parks.
Okay. Brian Carter makes the motion that we accept the auction engagement agreement as presented.
And will be a second. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. Thank you. I was a little bit lost there on that. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, got you squared away.
Yep, well, on that anyway.
We gotta do the clerk's fees, is that on there
Now we
somewhere?
need the, oops, lost my agenda there.
Yep. Now we're down to the clerk's fees.
Down.
Their business.
Up. Oh, there we are. Ordinance 24-10, correct? Clerk fee schedule.
So Tammy's going
Yes.
to address you about this real quick, but I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. So your next 2 ordinances, the clerk fee schedule and the 911 addressing, there's no action to be taken on either of those today. They're just introductory to you. So you've got 2 weeks to review it and
first reading.
ask any questions.
Right, because these are all first reading.
Somebody that wants to-
Unless we want to waive first reading.
Right, well, I don't think anything, you do.
Get her at the end.
Good morning. Okay, it was brought to my attention that, from my records department, that we were not charging the correct fee for copies, and if they wanted them certified, there's an additional fee for certification.
Okay.
So then, after looking at our old ordinance, our last one, we decided, Josh and Ann and I decided that we needed to do a new ordinance, and I think that's what you all have there, along with our new forms that we'll be using when someone needs a copy or certification. And there are IC codes there that tells us what our fees should be.
Okay, so help me out here a little bit. This is, we don't need to act on this
No, that's,
at the next meeting. This is informing and we go over it and then
Yes.
shabam. Okay.
yeah,
Well, thank you.
I'm just here to answer questions.
All right. Well, I see why you're wanting the change, and so
Yes.
that's helpful. Do we have any questions
Yeah, it's
of
quite a bit of
our
difference.
clerk here, Tammy?
I'm fine.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We'll go through, or see you in the middle of the month.
Usually, and I'm not requiring this, but usually I hear Mr. Hale say we agreed to accept it, as for first reading. But you don't have to do that. It is a first reading. It will be on the agenda for a vote on second reading.
We have another ordinance on addressing, 911 addressing ordinance 2024-12. Do we have any, have you had a chance to review that? There's a may and a shall. It handles the way we address things. Pardon?
We'll vote on it next meeting. That's
Wanna
the
go-
same as that
same
one.
as-
That's the
okay.
clerk. We'll vote on it next meeting.
All right. We'll put that on the, we'll table that till the next meeting.
And point of order.
Sure, go for it.
Ms. Attorney, are you suggesting that we show this as the first reading on both these ordinances?
I was. But if you don't want them to be first reading,
There's no harm in doing the first reading.
You could always waive it. I mean, we waived some of them. Waived
Oh,
the
well,
first
we
reading.
waived the second reading.
Waived the first reading, and act on the second one.
I don't know if, I don't ever remember doing that.
How can you waive the second reading?
First reading.
You can't waive a first reading if you don't have
First
a second.
reading waived would be the first
Just
reading.
put it off.
I understand Commissioner Hale's point, because the second reading is when you take action, but informally, in my experience, people do say, we agree to waive second reading. But he's right, second reading is when you take action, so you would be waiving first reading.
Kenny Hale makes a motion, we acknowledge that we received all the ordinance from the clerk and the 911.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor of that motion, say aye. And this is first reading, correct? And you didn't say waive it,
I don't know,
correct?
my 30 years of government, I just got confused.
All right. Motion's passed, and we've had the first reading on that, on the ordinance. And then the second reading will come up in a couple of weeks. All right. We're down to, did you get your phone calls made on the art?
I did, I had a no and a yes, and left a message with the other one.
Well, we can take care of that next month, or in 2 weeks. All right. Any further business for the county?
I have a few comments, and I wanted the county engineer and Josh and the county highway superintendent to be in attendance. People do not understand chip and seal. I totally get it, that you don't understand it. Just so that people know, we have roughly 770 miles, and we've taken in a little bit more, so that's a low estimate. We have probably more than 770 miles. It now costs just to do an overlay, that just means put 1.5 inches of blacktop on your road, roughly $100,000. That's if we don't have to do any cutting out, shoring up the sides, whatnot. So it's $100,000. That means that if I was gonna go out and pave every county road in 1 year, it'd be over $77 million. The county's blessed through grants. We go after every grant we can get. We get to do roughly $4 million worth of paving every year. Simple math dictates that if asphalt only lasts 12 years, and I don't think it lasts that long anymore, we can get into the debate about the bindings, and they don't make it like they used to. I would argue that they don't. I see a lot of asphalt that falls apart quicker than 12 years. But if you would do that, it is mathematically impossible for me to continue to pave every county road because it would take roughly 19 and a quarter years to do that time frame, and it's only lasting 12 years at best. So when you do not understand chip and seals, it is not a waste of your taxpayer money. I apologize, but it is a way to prolong that asphalt to give us time to get to the more traveled roads. We've been very blessed in the past of having paved probably too many roads that should have stayed gravel. So yeah, it is an inconvenience. Yes, it is dusty, but you do live in the country. And we are doing the best that we can with the money that we are given. For those of you that want to chip our teeth and seal our mouths, I'm not hiding. I'm pretty easy to find. Social media is very dangerous. With that stated, I want to thank the Highway Department. We've done more road preservation than we've been able to in the past. That's through increasing our technology and increasing our skill sets and bringing a lot of it in-house. It allows us to go a little bit further to protect the roads. But also on a side note, without creating a war with any adjacent counties or any other of the 91 counties, being 92 counties, you can tell when you fall off Morgan County roads. And I don't care which way of this county you drive. And if you don't agree with me, then you've not been out on some of these back roads and jumped into some of the adjacent counties. So I want to compliment, I know that they've taken heat through social media on the chip and seal, as have the commissioners, and I apologize for that, but I do not apologize for not having enough money. Don't tell me that we're overtaxing and that you're going to exempt yourself from taxes. There's not enough there, I just showed to you, there's not enough there to mathematically pave every road. So if you have any concerns, I'm a public official and I'm easily attainable. Thank you. Except for Bill. That was a hypothetical speech until it comes to Bill.
I agree with you 100%, but you're missing the main voice right here. You don't have drainage beside the roads don't last very long. So I want to totally give a total commitment to the county highway, because they are making side ditches along the side of the road. They are cutting ditches where the water gets off the road, because the water stays on the road 2 or 3 years, you got a pothole. Due to drainage, and we moved the lawn a lot further, so you guys was letting the county buy more equipment to ditch with, and the county using their hands to do a good job of ditching before they put a new road out here, and they come on later on and ditch it. They're getting ahead of it, so I want to give kudos to the county highway for doing what they're doing for their leadership. You guys give them the money to do what they ought to do to drain the roads, to make them better, and give them more right of way to get the ditches away from the road a little bit further.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
I have one.
That's an unpaid announcement, so I don't actually.
Well, thank you. An example would be, I have one road in my district that now has a lot of development on it, and the road does not have the sub-base that's needed for the travel that it's getting. It does not have the terrain, and we are very limited. People don't understand that our right-of-way basically goes to the asphalt. We do have a right to clean the ditch next to it, but that ditch is technically, in many cases, not even ours. But we're allowed to do it to maintain the road. You know, I don't understand why the state doesn't grant us 25 from center, which would allow me to trim back somebody's tree, personal tree, because you're obstructing vision when you pull out. I do not have that right. I can't go on your property in the middle of your yard and just cut down a tree because I want to cut down the tree. Nor can I if it obstructs the view if it's in your yard. I don't have that right. People do not understand that. And so when you look at the one road that I'm talking about, we went out and drove it to bring that one section of road, and it's not that long. I don't know, what do you think, 3 miles? It would take my whole annual budget and then some. So do you think in the other 2 districts they're gonna let me put, and I'm not gonna pave another road in all my districts, I'm just gonna fix that one 3-mile road, because it needs torn up, it needs sub-base, it needs compacted, it needs us to take and buy land to move the road that's falling down in the holler. So, I mean, that's the dilemmas that you get when you sit up here. So I apologize if we don't act fast enough for the taxpayers, but we are limited in what we can do.
I agree with what you said, but sometimes people jump in, guys, when they're doing something like that, they want to build roads. If the people are doing so much driving, give them right away to cut a ditch off the side of the road a little further, but they could use it as common sense to get the individual back, but people want to drive by my road, well, I need drainage. Well, they don't know nothing about drainage, they don't know nothing about, they got 2 roads, 2 eyes down the road, run up 2 little paths the road to go to Indianapolis and back home. They don't care, they don't know, because they're uneducated on road right away.
Right. And I just find the irony in my presentation today is that comes after about a month when I stated that I took a chewing on their property taxes going up and how ridiculous it is, and when am I on pave the road?
Yes. Yes. Yes, you may.
Wait until what's the next 2 years, 67, we'll get re-chip and seal again. 67, we'll get re-chip and seal in a couple, in 2 or 3 years. You think what's going to be bad about for the county, wait for the state, which we've already been through that years ago.
That was part of my christening as a new commissioner when I was labeled I'll clean it up, an idiot for chipping and sealing State Road 252. I screenshotted that.
Commissioner Hale wanted me to remind you, you weren't on the agenda for that, so your time is limited.
Once again, showing favoritism. Good for the county.
Before we get to good for the county, we have a lady, Catherine McCowan, has asked to speak, and I have no idea what Ms. McCowan's got up, but you're welcome. I'm sorry? Well, he'll return. He always comes back, you know.
Okay, I
What's
am
up?
Catherine McCowan, and my husband owns Domino Security Technology. It's a security alarm system company. He's owned it for 20 years plus. Recently, with things occurring, we've picked up some new clients. A majority of them have been in the Mooresville area, and I have been tasked by my husband in speaking with Morgan County Sheriff's Department. In the past, it's been a couple weeks that I've been tasked with speaking with them. So I've contacted them by phone, and it's been going on. It went on for a couple weeks, calling, 8 to 5, no answer. This went on for a few days. No answer, nobody picking up the phone, no answering service. I called the non-emergency number. Again, somebody did pick up the phone. I said I was trying to reach the sheriff's department, and they said, well, sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not there. I said, well, what about an answering service? I'm sorry, they don't have an answering service. Just keep on trying. Very frustrating. Ready to call out somebody because in this day and age, as you know, when you can't get a hold of the sheriff's department, this is Martinsville. I expect a lot out of Martinsville. We're not Podunk County. I consider our county. I've lived a lot of different areas in Indianapolis. I still consider us, you know, a pretty decent county. For us not to contact and reach our county sheriff's department, I think something maybe major is happening in our county. Let's call somebody and let's see what's going on, because this is a major issue to me. So finally, I've talked to different people and find out, you know, there's something wrong with the phone system, as everybody has said on Facebook. It's just very, very disappointing to find out that our county has phone issues for the sheriff's department. To me, I understand you guys are in charge of the building. To me, this is more than a building issue. This, to me, has now reached a safety issue, that you can't get a hold of the sheriff's department. This is a big deal to me. Also, the fact that it's a little bit more than not being able to reach the sheriff's department. I know you also have daughters like I do. Anybody who's a victim of a crime, not being able to reach a detective through the phone system is a big deal. You don't want to have to call 911. It's a non-emergency. It's a big deal. To me, not being able to reach somebody at the sheriff's department, having to physically drive to the sheriff's department to talk to somebody is a big deal. Not being able to pick up the phone and get somebody, even to leave a message for somebody, that's a big deal. At the very least, I would expect them to be provided with a cell so that they could be reached. I'm just very disappointed that we don't have some way to reach the sheriff's department. I just don't understand why. If this has been going on for a long time, I don't understand it. I think our community deserves better. And I'm just very, very disappointed if it's a cost issue.
It's not a cost issue.
Okay, because I have.
It's an issue that was way out of our hands with Fortune 500 companies and getting proper things. And they've been totally rewiring it. Some of the equipment that they put in to fix the equipment, that equipment didn't work.
Okay. I'm a member of various chambers. I am willing to get friends of the chambers together. We can get cell phones to provide the sheriff's department with some cell phones in the interim of getting things fixed.
How long has it been since you've tried?
I tried 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks
Okay.
ago.
Well, that's when we were having some problems. I think probably tried, I think everything's back up to snuff.
That I
Can we,
don't know, 'cause I
can we
know that they
dial
were
it right
Just
now
keep-
and find
keep-
out?
Keep us apprised of,
And one of
Can
the
we try
problems
right
is
now?
it's hit and miss too, because everything would be operational and working, and then 2 hours later, it'd be down again.
Can we try it right now? Can somebody dial it right now and see?
5544, 317-675-5544.
Okay.
That's your sheriff's department, I believe.
Will it go to an answering service if nobody answers?
There's no answering service, it's them.
Because most police departments have an answering service where it would go and somebody,
Pardon?
most police,
Here's sheriff. Yeah.
I kind of missed some of this. So is this about
Thank
our
you,
phones not working in the
thank
sheriff's
you,
office?
thank
yeah,
you.
I appreciate it.
Administrative phone lines
Yes.
being.
So, and that is true and accurate. Has been for 2 months, 3 months, 2 or 3 months, off and on, and then they're just totally down for the past month. So we have been working with data administration for several months over the old county phone system. I don't know how old it is. It's been here since I've been here. Started falling off. Phones were randomly ringing throughout the facility, jail, sheriff's office, detective building, for several months. Kept working with data administration on that. Couldn't get anywhere, kept rebooting the system 3 or 4 times a day over here, rebooting it because our phones were coming from this building to our building. That was kind of fixing it, then wasn't fixing it. So finally, I talked to Josh about a month and a half ago, I think now. Said, hey, we've got to do something because our phones are kind of working, but not working. And so he went ahead and said, well, we had money to do it. The commissioners did. Let's put in a new system, which obviously that doesn't happen very quickly. So Joel engaged in the agreement for that, got the new system ordered, which is in and is installed. However, the new company Nimbo, which is who dispatch uses, has had complications on getting, so we can call out now, but we cannot receive any calls in on any of our administration lines due to AT&T, is what Nimbo has said, has not released our phone numbers over to them. So that is a true and accurate statement that we've technically not had phones for probably going on 3 months now. So,
No cell phone, nobody's giving you a cell phone for the detectives to use or for you guys to use. So people call in to the sheriff's department, somebody there can pick up the phone, say, Morgan County Sheriff's Department.
dispatch has, so to get through, because one, we don't want to change numbers, and then people, when we change back, have different numbers to call. So dispatch, so by calling the 5544 number, dispatch has our fax line, which we've disabled our fax machine to be able to get. But then again, they can't transfer because that's that's a regular phone line, not a internal IP line. So, and that's one phone line that rings back into the jail. So again, that's not gonna get you administration, but that does get you back into our building to leave messages or try to get word around. So dispatch has had that access to be able to do that as easily as that can be done, but that's not the best way, but.
Do you have any connections with AT&T? Because if we could get them to move, then we could move.
So,
So my daughter's a victim of crime, she needs to talk to a detective.
she could still go through dispatch and they could still contact the sheriff's office. I mean, they still have those means. So, I mean, the public can still, I mean, they're just not
Yeah.
gonna get, I mean, they wouldn't get a detective just by calling our office anyways. They would still be referred to at 5544. That goes directly to dispatch. That doesn't even come into our building.
Well, you understand the situation.
Yeah.
That's,
So, It is very much so, and like I said, we've been working with the county administration for going on 3 months now, trying to rectify it, but that's beyond our control, so. All right.
And thank you,
Any
David.
questions on that? Sorry, we missed
I
that part.
appreciate that.
Nope. All right, you're welcome.
Any other comments we have for the good of the county? What you got? Bill, you got anything good for the county? Yep.
Well, I want to recommend recognition for the sheriff and the jail commander for being the top of the state of Indiana.
Isn't that a good thing? That is a great thing. I was so proud of the department. Thanks for bringing it up.
They need credit, give where credit's due. That's why I don't need credit.
I know it.
All right, the next one is the good of Clay Township.
All right, let's hear it.
Can we get something in the correspondence about county collection side of Centerton? Some people think that's going to be a county transfer station.
Oh, no, I see. Yeah, we probably need to get that.
Don't get that started.
Yeah, yeah, it's not, yeah, no, we'll try to, we'll work with the correspondent on that, see what we can do, make sure. Yeah, I don't want anybody too shook up about the pluses. Oh, no, I wouldn't wish that. Well, thank you, Bill. Yeah, we're very proud of the sheriff's department and the awards they received. And it wasn't just the two sheriff we had several gentlemen that were honored for a variety of, we've got a top flight.
I agree with you 100%, but it's just the idea that they need, the top needs recognition, because I mean, if you got good leadership at the top, it doesn't deteriorate as it comes down, it gets better.
Right.
So I want to, we have good leadership at the top, just like we have good leadership at the county highway. They're doing a pretty good job, even though you can't please everybody. Right, Mr. Collier?
Absolutely.
That's all I can say for the good of the county.
Thank you,
And Clay Township.
Well, I would like to also remind you, there's probably going to be some good stuff in the correspondent on this, but a week from tomorrow, there's going to be a big parade coming into town, and the wall for what's it called? I'm on that committee. The Wall That Heals. It's a three-quarter representation or copy of the Vietnam Memorial, and it's going to be down here at the fairgrounds. And there's been a lot of people put a lot of work into it. It's the only place in the state where it'll be. It'll be there from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They have a closing on Sunday, so or the 18th. So try to get out and see it. It's going to be. The more I was just talking to a friend of mine up in Boone County, and he said, "Oh my gosh, I didn't realize you were going to have it. Let me know," because he said I went to it when it was down. I think it was in Brown County at one time, and it's a big deal. So enjoy coming out. It's open 24 hours once they open it, so you can come. It's manned. We've got hundreds of volunteers setting up things for it, and football boys putting it together. It's just a great thing. So very, very proud of the county to have that and the people that are working on it. If you see Ellen Wilson Pruitt, she's chairing it, and boy, if you know Ellen, she's on top of it. So. Yep, yep. Any other comments on good for the county? Well, I wish you all a good couple of weeks, and we'll see you in 2 weeks, unless you have something comes up. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second?
Second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Have a good day.